This is the Thompson Cast. I am Mel Thompson. There are currently millions and millions of people living in extreme poverty. When this occurs, usually what follows or exists is a failed state or an opening to failure. By not addressing basic needs such as food first through economic development, other foreign investments are at substantial political risk of expropriation. In other words, expropriation means they're going to take your brick and mortar buildings that you have put up in another country. They're going to take your money out of the bank. They're going to take your stuff. Expropriation. When you put your money in companies or directly in projects through foreign investment in poor countries, you may want to look at the larger picture. For example, a manufacturing plant that employs people cheaply then exports these goods to the United States and Europe. Ask this question: are those workers hungry? If they are, is it not conceivable that those who promise or actually feed these people have more influence than you or the plant managers? I would say they no doubt do. If this is true, those who provide the food may build up a following politically that can be used to overthrow the government, the same government you're doing business with. You just invested all this money with this particular government, and now they may not be there because they didn't do one basic thing. They didn't feed or require that their people be fed and treated decently. The lesson is to make sure that the investment is not only good for you, but also for the people of the host nation. Apply a moral compass to these things. Another example is a political movement that peacefully takes power but is totally against U.S. policies and wishes to send a message by changing trade law and investment law, possibly on the spot. Even if you get justice, it will be at the cost of legal fees and a lot of time. How to avoid this political risk is by researching the government of host nations. Are they stable? Are they democratic? Do they have high rates of poverty in areas where your investment may be built or exist? Another way is to be proactive as a direct foreign investor in projects that promote environmentally sustainable growing methods. Also look at the host government's policies and plans to invest more in agriculture, production, and infrastructure. By getting involved in these types of government programs as part of your overall contact with the host nation, as either a business or investor, you create goodwill that will serve you in the long run. Civil unrest is a political risk, and it can be mitigated by being involved visibly in projects that fight hunger and poverty in the host nation. Your contact is a positive way, and it is not only something that's good business, it's also a moral imperative. For those who buy stocks and bonds that are in emerging markets, look at the non-economic data. Look at the politics of the host nation, how they treat their people, then the stability of the government. They're codependent on each other, and if one is weak, then I guarantee you that the other is weak. My point is that as a direct foreign investor or a business seeking to do an overseas deal, the workforce you depend on is not going to be loyal to the government that let you in the country if they're overthrown. You will be connected to the old government and then run the political risk of expropriation by the new government that was feeding and clothing your workforce. Do not get involved in the local politics, but be aware that if you are involved with a project that is perceived as only caring about profit and not whether or not the workforce is properly fed and clothed, then if there is a change in government, you may lose your investment through expropriation. Being the good guys does pay. This has been the Thompson Cast. I am Mel Thompson.